Hi, friends. It's Michelle Durand, and welcome to my podcast, Life is a Treasure, transformation of mind, body, and spirit after trauma or transitions. I'm so excited that you're joining me today as we embark on this journey of life. I believe that we all have the treasures inside of us to transform our pain and loss. I hope to inspire you and help you find true healing and wholeness in order to live a life that you treasure again. I'm so honored to share this special time with you. Hi, welcome back to Life is a Treasure podcast. I'm your hostess, Michelle Durand, and this is episode number 63, Grief Process, Tears to Treasures. I would like to just start this episode by just sharing with you, if you don't already know, I am the founder of an organization called Tears to Treasures. And through that, I help women heal and transform themselves from the inside out from transition or traumas that they've been through. And they just might feel stuck. So what I'm going to be talking about today is the grief process, and I'm going to be talking to you about it in a different way than probably what you have already heard in the past regarding grief, because grief can be very complex, and there are different stages of grief, and some people say there are 5 stages, some say there are 7 stages, some say there are 12 stages, but nonetheless, and there are definitely stages of grief, and they do not go in an order like check this. Okay, I'm done with this stage. I'm on to the next. It is not always that way. And as I go through this podcast and share my own experiences and my own knowledge from my years of working in grief with other women, I've been doing this for over 20 years. And I have come to this realization that it definitely needs to start from within, but it has to start with ourselves. And I find that, myself included, anything I talk about, of course, I'm including myself, and I'm talking to myself, and I need to hear this over and over and the reminders constantly. But one thing that keeps us stuck is when we blame. When we blame others, we stay stuck because we're looking for someone else to put our pain, our guilt, our shame, our anger towards. But in order to find true, lasting healing, we have to look in the mirror. We have to look at ourselves first. Usually, though, we look at ourselves last. We look for everyone else to blame, to point the finger to. It's his fault, it's her fault, it's their fault. But yeah, it might be, especially if we're victims of abuse. But you know what? Those abusers may go to jail. They may go on with their life. They may die. But you still have to live with yourself. I still have to live with myself, no matter what's been done. And I always say, no matter what's been done by you to you, that doesn't determine who you are, and it does not ever change your worth. And a big part of the goal when I go through the healing process with women is that they realize their true worth, their self-worth. It is not dependent upon what we've done or what anyone has done to us. That does not change our value or our worth. So just keep that in mind. And as I start going through this, I'm going to call it a structure for a lack of any other name. You're going to see that I'm going to talk about 6 different stages or phases. And let me just say this from the beginning to kind of help you make sense of what you're going to hear. This is also an announcement for 2021. Last year, 2020, my goal was to launch this podcast and stay consistent and learn and grow. and I've done so. And I thank you for listening. I have had so many downloads, so many people reach out to me and let me know how much they needed to hear these episodes. So I thank you. You're a part of this journey with me. And this year, 2021, I'll go ahead and give you a little glimpse into my year. One of my big goals is I am working on a program, video-based online virtual program, and it's self-paced. So you can actually log in and enter into your program and get the videos and the worksheets to do the work at home. So you don't have to go anywhere and you don't have to be in a group with other people. Although I do definitely recommend and I offer that through Zoom, group coaching sessions with me. But this program I'm working on, I really can see this as something that you can do on your own time. Let's say the children are down for a nap or they're at school and you have your quiet mommy time. Then you can work on this when you have the time. And that's the beauty of what I'm creating, this virtual program. And so the steps and the stages that I'm going to talk to you about, that's the weekly topics that you will be working through. So as I go through this, if this is something that is interesting to you and you feel that nudging and that pulling of your spirit, let me know, please, and I will get your email address and I will let you know before I publicly release this program. And I would love for you to be one of my first participants. And I'll have a huge discount for you as my listener of my podcast. So make sure you tell me, hey, Michelle, I just heard about your program on your podcast episode. Please put my name and email address down and let me know as soon as it's ready. I would like to join it. And I'm going to give you a very, very discounted price to do this. So, I just want to mention this because it'll make more sense to you now as I go through these stages, like what the goal is and why we go through these particular stages. And the goal is for you to find lasting healing in an area of your life that you feel is just stays with you. You might feel stuck. You might feel like, I don't know how to get over this, or I can't forgive myself for this. So if that sounds like you, then you would be a great fit for this program. And I'd love to hear from you and invite you to be one of my very first participants. I would love to have you. So being that I already shared this now with you all, I'm going to say that if we were to do the program together, the first week that you would take it part in, it would be more like just like an introduction. So I would have this introduction of what you're going to have through this program, what to expect, how to do it, just the intro, okay, with all the information that you need. Then we go to week 2, and that's going to be self-awareness. And I feel that this is very important because the first thing that we need to do when we're looking through to get through some kind of a painful process or journey is to become self-aware. And I have an episode that's on the podcast last year. It's called Self-Awareness. I invite you to go listen to that. It's really, really helpful also. So it goes into more details all about self-awareness. But for this sake of this episode, because I'm going through 6 different stages, I'm going to just briefly go through what this means. So self-awareness is like, where do I need healing? What area of my life has been affected by blank? So, for example, what area of my life has been affected by my abuse? What area of my life has been affected by my abortion? By the death of my parent, of my spouse, of my child, of my baby, of my newborn, of my unborn? How about what area of my life was affected by my divorce, or eating disorder, or financial struggle, or guilt, any loss or trauma? Maybe we are being a victim, as I said, blaming, and we're this victim. We have a victim mentality. negative beliefs, our inner critics, maybe our eating disorders because we have body image struggles. Any of those issues or topics, they affect our lives in many, many ways. So that particular topic, self-awareness, is looking at that. What area of my life is affected by blank? And then we are going to heal physically, emotionally, and spiritually. This whole podcast is about mind, body, and soul. And when I say soul, I equate that to spirituality. And so that's the goal, is to seek healing for the area that has been affected or impacted by one of those. It could be something else. You fill in the blank of what area of your life has been affected by blank, and where do I need healing? We identify it, we explore our feelings, and we just really get into that in more detail, in depth through the program. Okay, so the next session, the next week, would be self-compassion. So I want to stop for a second and just say that the grief process for any type of a loss is shock and denial. So, if you lose someone, maybe shock, and you might be in denial, and that's just a coping mechanism. Then we have the pain and the guilt sets in. And when that happens, a lot of times anger comes up and we start to want to bargain, like, why couldn't it have been me instead of her? And then if we allow that anger to go inward, it becomes depression. And then the next grief stage is acceptance, which gives us hope. So I'm going to be talking about each one of these as I go along. And again, Tears to Treasures, my mission is hope, help, and heal, is to offer you hope and to help you heal. So week 2 is self-compassion. Week 3, but I'm just going to kind of, self-awareness, and then we go into self-compassion. And when you look at self-compassion, it means being kind to yourself, offering yourself compassion that you offer to other people, relief from our fears, relief from the denial, facing our reality and our regrets with compassion. Compassion is the key to healing. And last year, 2020, I also, in season 1, have an episode all about self-compassion. You will find it if you go look at the episodes in 2020. The next week is self-forgiveness, and that is a big, big struggle. It is so challenging to forgive ourselves. We can forgive other people. It's like, okay, yeah, I forgive them. Maybe I never have to see them again. But we have to live with ourselves. And to forgive ourselves is very difficult. But I've always tell people, forgiving ourselves is literally accepting our own forgiveness. So I'll say that again. Forgiving ourselves is literally accepting our own forgiveness. So it's taking that anger that we have toward ourselves, which may have already turned into depression, may even be suicidal thoughts. And it is taking that anger and releasing it in healthy manners, in healthy ways. And again, if we go through this program, I give you ideas, I help you through this. So we look at blame and we learn to not blame anymore. We learn to reserve revenge because so many times we want revenge to others who've hurt us. We forgive others, and then we ultimately forgive ourselves and accept our own forgiveness. The next week is self-care. So critical, because when we're grieving and when we're filled with guilt, anxiety, depression, or maybe suicidal thoughts or tendencies, or even you've tried to commit suicide, you're not alone, and there's help. And so as we look at self-care, it's looking at how are our thoughts about ourselves? How is our talk about ourselves? Are we constantly condemning and criticizing ourselves? Or are we uplifting and speaking positive over ourselves? That week will include affirmations that I will give you and meditations that you will have to listen to. And, every week I will offer you some tips and tools and suggestions and give you ways to help with your self-care routine, help you come up with a routine, and help you identify your emotions and list them, and then just creative ways to express those emotions. The next week would be self-love. And, it's really hard to love yourself if you don't have awareness, compassion, forgiveness, and if you don't take care of yourself. So it's so important that we've gone through those weeks and now we're landed at this week of self-care. And it's about, not only accepting yourself, but identify who you are and to know and learn your worth and to put peace with your past. This is a time where you can find inner joy, hope. And if your loved one is in heaven, it's a time where you can just feel that connection with your unborn, your baby, your child, whoever is in heaven waiting for you. Self-love allows you to love yourself enough to go into the next week, which is self-acceptance, to accept yourself the way that you are. And as you learn to love yourself, you learn to accept yourself. You acknowledge not only your weaknesses and the areas of pain and guilt and shame, but you also acknowledge your strengths. You find your purpose in life. You learn how to express yourself in healthy ways. And you learn how to release your emotions in healthy ways and creative ways. You set yourself free and you celebrate. You bring honor and dignity to yourself, to your unborn baby, to whoever it is or whatever that loss is. You can celebrate because you have found the treasures from your years of tears. And that, in a nutshell, is what I do with women, is to help them go through this process of becoming aware of the areas they need healing, to have compassion for themselves, to forgive themselves, to learn how to take care of themselves, and to love and accept themselves again, and to know that they are worthy. No matter what's been said of them, done to them, or they've done to themselves, you are worthy of healing. You are worthy of living a life filled with love and peace and joy again. A life that you can truly treasure every single day. So if this is something that sounds like you would love to be a part of, I would love to have you join me and the other women in the group that would participate in this program. So I really hope that through this episode, it will give you some inspiration, some encouragement, and some strength to know that you're not alone. And whatever it is you want for your life, you can too have it. I went through my abortion and I shared many episodes about that, and you can go back and listen to them also. But I stayed stuck in my grieving process because I didn't even know that I had to go through a grieving process. I just carried the guilt and the shame and the anger with me for many, many, many years, even into my motherhood stages, and it wasn't fair to my children. And that's when I realized I needed to find healing, and I did. And that's what then led me to help other women heal from their abortions. But years later, after my own healing, I went through a divorce, a very painful, devastating divorce. And again, I didn't even realize I needed to go through a grieving process. But I did. And as I started, but at first I just pushed it away, and I just tried to think, oh, I'm good, but I really wasn't inside. And I just wore a mask. And so As I started going through the grieving process, I realized, wow, this is the same process that we go through, like when I do the abortion work. And, that's when I started to think about it and realize that no matter what loss we go through, it's all different, but the grieving process is the same. And so it doesn't matter, even as empty nest, when I went through that with my children leaving, there was a loss. I was like lost my identity, I felt, as a mother. My children were moved out on their own. And so I really was by myself at that point. And I had to go through a grieving process again. And I will go through many grieving processes until the day I die. And so will you. And so will every one of you listening. Because none of us are exempt from going through loss and grief. So you're not alone. And you deserve to be healed. You deserve to love yourself. You can forgive yourself. And I'm here to help you. I will have the link in my show notes to tearstotreasures.com. And again, please reach out to me if you're interested in being one of the first participants. I'm going to give you a huge discount to join the program first this year when it launches, which will be pretty soon. So go ahead and email me today. Whenever you're listening to this, still email me, even if it's next year, because I'm planning to always have this program available online, accessed by you wherever you are in the world. So thank you for joining me today. I really hope that something I said has resonated with you in your spirit, that your soul might be longing to hear the hope that yes, I can heal from this. Whatever it is, I can heal. I can become whole, healthy. We're all whole, healthy again. But we want our mind and our body and our spirit to be all connected so we can be the best version of ourselves that we can. So we can show up not only for ourselves every day, for our family and for the world, and to live out our God-given purpose. So thank you for joining me. I really cannot wait to hear from you. Please reach out to me through my website. I have my email and I have all my social media icons on the website, lifeisatreasure.com. I will also have that in the show notes. You can email me. You can reach out to me on Messenger on any of the platforms. And I look forward to hearing from you. And I hope that this will give you some inspiration to allow yourself to turn your tears into treasures so that you can have a life that you truly treasure again. Thank you for listening. Until next time, peace, love, and joy. Friends, thank you for listening to Life is a Treasure podcast. Please join me every Thursday for a new episode. In the meantime, follow me on my socials and don't forget to subscribe to this show, and it would mean so much to me if you could please leave a 5-star review. You can find more information at my website, lifeisatreasure.com. And remember, you already have all the treasures inside of you to transform yourself and your life. Bye, friends.